Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hivemind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, we don't say liberalism is a mental disorder for no reason. We don't refer to Trump derangement syndrome as a legitimate diagnosis for no reason, friends. And look guys, this isn't an insult. I'm not trying to be cruel or anything, but it's just a fact that people on the other side are truly unhinged. They've completely lost control. We're talking about people that are unstable. And the simple fact of the matter is that it's not a both sides issue. There's one side that is clearly not well. One side that is clearly miserable, angry, clearly unstable, and the last couple of years has essentially been the breaking point, and what we've seen is almost a mass psychotic episode. I mean, it's pretty easy to visualize. Let's just use this meme. And while of course those are some pretty good examples, we've got another very high profile example, of course from Hollywood, on the same level of Demi Lovato's most recent identity crisis. This time, actress Jennifer Lawrence seems to have added another syndrome to the DSM. Of course, we know of Trump derangement syndrome in its various stages. Now, apparently, there's such thing as Tucker Carlson derangement syndrome or Tucker derangement syndrome. Let me show you guys this absolutely wild story as these Hollywood characters continue to show us what a brain on liberalism really looks like, and it's not exactly a pretty sight. Let me show you guys what's going on, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, take a look at this. Actress Jennifer Lawrence has spoken to her therapist about recurring nightmares about Tucker Carlson, according to Vogue. In a lengthy piece about actress Jennifer Lawrence, Vogue noted that the celebrity has spoken to her therapist about recurring nightmares she has had regarding to Tucker Carlson. Carlson is a popular conservative television personality with a show on the Fox News channel. Vogue noted that the 2016 election had created a rift in Lawrence's family. I just worked so hard in the last 5 years to forgive my dad and my family and try to understand. It's different. The information that they are getting is different. Their life is different, Lawrence noted. Yeah, you know what it's called? It's called a life of experience and hard work. Something I don't think Jennifer Lawrence has ever experienced, achieving such incredible success at such a young age, based on her beauty and poor acting skills. When asked whether she engages in political exchanges with her family members who live in Kentucky, Lawrence said, "I broach the subject in the sense that I unleash text messages, just boom, 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 boom. They don't respond, and then I'll feel bad and send a picture of the baby." The actress became pregnant in her early 20s, and while she had intended to terminate the pregnancy, she ended up miscarrying. "I had a miscarriage alone in Montreal," she said. Later, after getting married, she became pregnant again and wanted to have a child, but suffered another miscarriage and had to have a dilation and curettage procedure. "Lawrence had a child earlier this year. I remember a million times thinking about it while I was pregnant, thinking about the things that were happening to my body, and I had a great pregnancy. I had a very fortunate pregnancy, but every single second of my life was different. And it would occur to me sometimes, what if I was forced to do this?" And now Jennifer Lawrence thinks that she's being some great altruistic California liberal here, but you know, just reading this, I think I'm starting to get where her parents are coming from, or the political rift, or frankly the ethical rift stands. Jennifer Lawrence, a woman of supreme privilege, got pregnant in her 20s, and her first reaction was, "I want an abortion." You know, the issues with her parents, or at the time potential grandparents, I think I'm starting to see the picture here. Jennifer Lawrence is quoted here as saying, "What if I was forced to do this?" Forced to do what? Accept responsibility for your actions? I mean, you got pregnant. You were clearly not responsible enough in your own personal affairs or in terms of contraception, and your first recourse was to bail out of the situation. And it seems as though I might be right, because Jennifer Lawrence is now claiming that the most recent Roe versus Wade reversal has reignited feud with her MAGA supporting family in Kentucky. And honestly, I really understand where the feud comes from. To be an individual so privileged, to be able to provide such an incredible existence for a human child, but to be utterly irresponsible and use this medical procedure as a cop-out is the exact problem that so many people have. Maybe that right there is the issue. But of course, like most leftists, anybody who disagrees with me, including my parents, must be demonized and ostracized. And that's what Jennifer Lawrence is doing in the public, in the media, with her own family. That's what unstable people do. And that is really the trend here. I mean, just take a look at this quote. "I don't want to disparage my family, but I know that a lot of people are in similar positions with their families, she remarked. I don't want to disparage my family, but let me disparage my family because of our difference in political and cultural beliefs, and let me put them on blast to Vogue magazine for millions of people to read. Quote, how could you raise a daughter from birth and believe that she doesn't deserve equality? How? I mean, completely ridiculous. The notion that your parents have different beliefs on a medical procedure, that they care about the sanctity of life, and that they possibly disagree with your decision because they view it as a cop-out, where you were clearly irresponsible and probably totally financially ready to take on the responsibility, but you chose instead to snuff out life as a method of contraception, yeah, that right there has nothing to do with equality. Jennifer Lawrence is a case study in Trump derangement syndrome and unhinged emotional leftism. You know, that whole phenomenon from after the 2016 election, where we kept hearing how families were breaking apart. I mean, personally, I experienced it as well. I had personal relationships and friendships that ended over the fact that I thought Donald Trump was a decent candidate, and it always seemed to go one way. You know, the one thing you see within conservative circles is conservatives tend to have liberal friends. They're willing to be friends with people who have different political beliefs, and they're willing to continue to have a discussion. The opposite is not true, and as we see it in this case here with Jennifer Lawrence, to the extent where she will publicly attack and attempt to ridicule her own family members, her own mother and father, blast them in the media to Vogue magazine, because from her perspective, their stances and their political positions are indefensible. But of course, how could you disagree with Jennifer Lawrence? I mean, her logic is just so eloquent and sound. She briefly spoke about the 2016 election, which caused the initial rift inside her family unit. It breaks my heart because America had the choice between a woman and a dangerous jar of mayonnaise, and they were like, well, we can't have a woman, let's go with the jar of mayonnaise. I mean, outside of the ridiculous fact that she's essentially breaking up her family unit because they voted for someone that she doesn't like, but her explanation is just so clear that yes, people voted for Donald Trump because they, quote, didn't want a woman. So clearly ridiculous. The idea that the majority of people who voted for Donald Trump voted for him because they just didn't want to vote for a woman is of course beyond stupid. People tend to vote based on values and policies, but clearly if you're willing to kick your family to the curb, the people who invested everything into you, loved you, and raised you because they voted for Evil Orange, as she dubs jar of mayonnaise man, well, clearly you have no values at all. And this is what I mean by leftoids are completely unhinged. I mean, this person is flaunting this stuff as some sort of powerful political message, but it all just sounds so ridiculous. I hate my parents because of their views on abortion, and they supported evil mayonnaise jar man. Therefore, I no longer talk to my mother and father. I just send them troll text messages like boom, boom, boom. Oh, and did I mention that I have recurring nightmares where Tucker Carlson haunts me in my dreams? This is not a stable human being, but honestly, it's almost like the archetype of your typical leftoid. These are the people that it's just impossible to have a conversation with. It's impossible to even reach middle ground because they are totally unwilling. They completely break down emotionally during any topic of conversation. It's my way or the highway. It's my view, regardless of how ridiculous or half-witted it is, or you are the enemy and you're an extremist and you're this, that, and the other. And then they turn around and say that we're the crazy people and we're the extremists and we're the ones who lost our minds. And because, you know, it's just so dangerous. You know, those policies of free trade and capitalism, Second Amendment rights, basic free speech, individual rights, you know, sovereignty like an actual border. Did I mention low taxes, less regulation? You know, those people that are anti-infanticide? Oh, those extremists. It's completely crazy, folks. They've lost all perspective. The TV woke mind virus has infected their brains. And it's to the extent where we're seeing these individuals straight up destroy family ties, destroy family unity or the family unit, and then somehow convince themselves that everybody else is the problem. No, sweetheart, I think you're the problem. But of course, what do I know? I'm just one of those scary conservatives. Welcome to Clown World, folks. These Hollywood liberals are insufferable. That's what I got for you guys, though. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for it. I'm gonna get back to work, though. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.